Hey everyone, Namaste, and welcome to the ninth episode of Yoga Shakti with me, Shailaja Menon. And I think this is probably the last episode of the year as well. And what a year this has been, right? So, if we have learned anything, if this year has taught us anything, it is that we must make the time to take care of our health. And our health is not just physical health, but we have to know that that physical health that we value so much actually is deeply connected to the state of our mental health as well, right? And we also have to make the time to nourish our spirit. This busyness has been one of the greatest problems in our lives before COVID. And if you ever, ask people, right, even in my yoga studio, I ask my students to make the time. Everybody is just too busy. But COVID has really, locked us down in our own houses and forced us to confront, the state of our health and forced us to realize that we really need to make the time to take care of ourselves, right? And one of the key words or the catchwords during this whole COVID pandemic has been immunity, right? So you found this whole flurry of activity of people trying to build their immunity overnight, right? Whether it was, drinking turmeric water and, with pepper and ginger and all of that, or whether it was taking some other immunity boosting supplement, or of course the very famous now moringa leaves that are so popular, right? So everybody was trying to boost their immunity overnight, right? But we need to know that it's not as simple as that. And all of these practices really have to be lifestyle choices, right? So it does come down to the conscious choices that we make on an everyday basis. Yeah, so it's not this one-off thing, and take it one day and the next day our immunity is miraculously boosted. But we make these practices everyday practices and a part of our lives, right? And for this, our lives have to become more conscious, right? We need to be more conscious beings. And to me, that really begins on the mat, right? Otherwise, we're always just living on autopilot, a slave to our patterns, right? Doing the same things we did yesterday and eventually living the same lives that we lived, like 10 years ago because we really weren't conscious of the choices that we were making. So it begins on the mat, this conscious living, and it begins with really being aware of our bodies, right? The body is more tangible and so easier for us to connect. So it begins with, being aware of your left hand, left hip, left leg, right leg. And eventually, this awareness that we build with our bodies, we become more conscious of our breaths, we become more conscious of our minds, our patterns of thinking, the state of our emotions, our energy levels, right? All of this information and knowledge we actually gain on the mat during our asana practice. And that's how profound our asana practice can be if it is a conscious practice, right? Otherwise, it is just an exercise or some stretching that we do. But if we can really cultivate this wisdom of ourselves by being conscious of our bodies, by being conscious of our breaths, by being conscious of our thought patterns, then it elevates our practice into a truly profound practice, right? So, to more conscious living and to more awareness of ourselves on the yoga mat with our asana practice. And eventually, we have to know that any kind of transformation that we seek in our lives, right, begins with awareness. And awareness for me begins on the mat. Yeah. Namaste. So let's get started with the practice. Since it's the year end, I want to end on a note of strength. So we're going to do some of the earlier practices that we did, I think in episode 4 and 5, where we did a lot of forearm plank and the regular planks as well. But since I've been doing the Surya Namaskaram the last few weeks, I'm going to first do that in the beginning separately, just as a reminder. And then we're going to club that along with the Surya Namaskaram so it all flows together well. Yeah, so let's get started. Come on to your hands and knees. right? So the basic alignment points, like make sure your shoulders and wrists are in line. Like I myself noticed that my tendency is always to go back a little bit. Yeah. So just be conscious of what your tendency is. So consciously bringing the shoulders forward so that they stack up with your wrist, and then engage your abdomen. Yeah. So then hold well, keep pushing the floor down so that your upper back is engaged as well, and then take your left leg off the floor as well and just keep holding, right? So remember to really engage your body, palms pressing forward, your upper back muscles engaged well, abdominal muscles engaged well, your heels drawing back. So if you want a little bit more intensity, you can take your heels back, but don't take your heels back and move the body back. Make sure your body remains forward so that you are on the tip of your toes, really pressing down, holding well. 5, 4, 3, 2, and drop your knees down, move your hips back and relax. Okay, from here we're going to move into side plank. So I'm hoping all of you have been practicing this over the last few weeks. So you feel strong enough to move into the variations of plank. So bringing your shoulders forward, right? Moving into plank. And then I'm going to move to my right side as I lift my left arm up, right? And then if you're feeling really good here, you can just look up at your thumb. Yeah, so keep pressing the palms down, keep the hip rising up as you look up. Really enjoy that feeling of strength and stability that this pose brings. And lower down, right? So move back into plank and then turn to the other side, right? So stacking your feet, right? Lifting your arms up, hips up, fingers stretching, gaze at your thumb, holding well, connecting to strength, connecting to stability. As you lower down, right? And then just drop your knees down, move your hips back into child pose. Okay, so I think this is where I stopped in episode 5. So we're going to go into another variation here. So this is a bit of a tree pose variation, yeah? So I just call it the plank tree. So bring your shoulders forward, right? So we move into plank like we did earlier. And then the difference is you try to lift your leg off. Yes, you try to see if you can place it on your inner thigh and then look up. So this requires a lot more strength, lot more grounding. Okay, and then lower down, right? Moving to the opposite side. Just find your point. Lift the hip, arm reaching up and looking up. Again, connecting to strength, connecting to stability, connecting to groundedness, connecting to centeredness. Okay, slowly lower down, moving back into plank. Drop your knees down, move your hips back, and release forward. And coming up. So there's again another variation here that I would like to introduce. So if you feel good, so remember to work in each of this. Yeah, so try to work to at least in the beginning maybe 10 seconds, then work towards being able to hold for say 20 seconds, right? So just coming onto your hands and feet, moving into side plank, right? Keeping the hip lifting, keeping your body open. And then from here, so if you feel comfortable here, you can just see if you can lift your leg up. Yeah, slowly release and move to the opposite side. So working here, moving into tree, and from here, keeping the hip up, Just lifting your leg up. Okay, slowly lower down, drop your knees down, and chapus. So I do this a lot in my kids' class, and they call it the star pose. Yeah, it looks something like a star, right? So there's also Vashishtasana, where we try to hold the big toe, but I'm going to leave that for another episode, right? So from here, we're going to move into the same things, but we do it in forearm. So just bringing your forearms down, again, stacking your shoulders over the elbows, lift your knees off, holding well. So really engage your upper back, engage the abdominal muscles, keep your heels drawing back, and stay. Focus on your breath, focus on strength. Okay, and then slowly release down. Right, so here you want to rest, you can just make a pillow with your hands and relax. Okay, and then working into the variations here. So just keep your upper arm parallel to the edge of your mat, right? So turn to your side and work into side plank variation here. Okay, so keep the hip up and then lower down, right? So turn to the opposite side. And lower down, right? So we can try the other variations as well. Next, we work into the tree variation. Yeah, so again, I'm just giving you different variations with different levels of intensity. So just feel free to just try what you feel is possible at this point. Yeah, so just but try something. Yeah, don't give up without trying. Yeah, and then just rising up here, right? Keep the hip up and then lift the foot off and stay. Okay, so one point to note here is that the knee points towards the ceiling. Yeah, so it doesn't come forward or sideward, right? So you place the foot, make sure the knee goes up. And then working in the opposite side. So just lifting up first, lifting your arm up and move. Slowly lower down, right? Just make a pillow with your hands and relax. Focus on your breath and focus on what you can do, right? Don't worry about what is not accessible at this point. Okay, and then finally we try the lift from here. So you turn to your side again, right? So if you feel comfortable from here, you can just lift your legs up. Okay, lower down and working in the opposite side. Okay, so these are all just different variations. Just do what feels right for you at this point. From the tree, just lift your leg up. Slowly coming down and relax. So let's start with the sun salutations. The first round will be a regular sun salutation without any variation. And in the second round, I will incorporate the strength variations that we did earlier. Yeah, so to just work into the sun salutations, especially the forward bends, I'm just going to start with the squat variation leading to Uttanasana. Yeah, so as you inhale, just lift your arms up, keep your hips sitting back. Just stay here, try to keep your arms as straight as possible. Three, two, one. As you exhale, try to fold deep. Yeah, try to keep your abdomen on your thighs or your chest on your thighs, right? And then just come up as much as you can. Yeah, just finding the point where you can kind of almost straighten your legs, but staying close. Yeah, trying to keep that chest and abdomen as close to your thighs, right? One more round here. Inhale and rise up. So sit low. Yeah, hips go back, arms go straight. Three, two, one. Exhale and fold, folding deep. Yeah, so to help you here, you can even wrap your elbows around your calves and then slowly straighten, relaxing the head, neck, and shoulders. Crown of your head going towards the floor. And last round, sitting back. Three, two, one, and fold. Okay, so the thing about repetition is that each time you do it, it will be a little bit different from the earlier one. Yeah, and you'll find yourself being able to go a little bit deeper, stretch a little bit more, right? And then slowly rolling up and coming up, right? So that helps us with our forward bends and hamstring opening. Now we just work a little bit for back bends, right? Because all of this comes into our sun salutation. So just as you inhale, draw the head of the arm bones back, chest open, hips forward. Exhale, coming back up, right? So if you flow with a rhythm, that gives you a little bit more focus. So as you inhale, one, two, three, four. Exhale, one, two, three, four. And last round, inhale, one, two, three, four. Exhale, one, two, three, four. Right? So we go through the sun salutation now with our bodies a little bit more open than it was earlier. So palms in prayer position. Inhale and arch back. Exhale and fold. So really connecting to each position. Right leg back, right knee down. Lift the heart. Press the toes down, lift the knee off. Left leg back, really connecting to plank. So pressing the palms down, engaging the abdomen well. Drop your knees down, right? Chest and chin. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, down dog. Right leg forward. Just lift the heart. Left leg forward. Fold deep. Inhale, arch it back. And release. Okay, exhale, palms in prayer position. Inhale, arch it back. Exhale, fold. Left leg back. Right, lift the heart, open the chest. Right leg back. Holding well. Feeling strong. Okay, so we start the second round with some variations. So just exhale, palms in prayer position. Inhale, arching back. Exhale, fold, folding deep. Right leg back, lift the heart. Left leg back into plank, right? And here you work on your variation. So you can lift your arm up, right? So this is one position, right? And then you can lift your leg up. That is another position. Or finally, you can keep the hip lifting up and lift your leg up. Another variation, right? Lower down and you just chin. Rising into Cobra, Bhujangasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Right leg forward, left leg forward, arch back. Release. Right, so we do the same thing on the other side. Exhale. Exhale again. And left leg back. And lift the heart. And lift the knee off into plank. And working on the opposite side. Any of the variations you prefer. Keep the hip rising. And lift the leg up. Lower down. Drop your knees down. Chest and chin. Inhale into Cobra. So we'll do one last set with the forearm plank variations, yeah, so that you know when to enter it and you know when you get out of it. So we're just starting off. I'm not talking so much while I do, but you all know the flow now, so just follow. Okay, we just work on the left side now. Okay, so holding forearm plank first. Right, trying to get your toes out so you get a really good position. Right, you can just do this, right? Just do this for 20 seconds and carry on with the rest of the flow. Or if you want to add on, you can just continue. Right. So I hope you all enjoy today's practice. I know that with regular and consistent practice, you will all get there. The key to or the magic to the practice is just consistency, and that's what I've also been consistently saying over these episodes. So hope to see you all in the new year with renewed enthusiasm and commitment, and wishing you all a very, very happy new year. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. I believe we've never needed it more. Namaste.